Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. I'm so glad you're here today because we're looking at a story that honestly affects every single one of us. It starts with this massive agricultural triumph, kind of spirals into a quiet ecological crisis, and then, hopefully, points us toward a much more sustainable, healthy future. We're talking about the food right there on our plates and the literal ground beneath our feet. Let's get right into it.
So, right off the bat, I want you to just sit with this question for a second. Are modern farming methods quietly destroying the very soil that feeds us? It's a pretty stark thought, right? Obviously, we have this huge, undeniable need to produce enough food for a rapidly growing population. But at what cost to the planet's ecological health? That tension is exactly what we're unpacking today.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. The modern farming fallout. 2. What is organic farming? 3. India's urgent need. And 4. 5 major benefits.
Moving into Part 1, the modern farming fallout.
To really understand why we need a solution, we have to look back at our past successes. Take a look at that number, 3.8. That number basically represents a miracle. See, back in the late 1950s and 60s, India was facing a really severe food crisis. So to avoid mass starvation, the government launched the Green Revolution. They brought in high-yielding variety seeds, chemical fertilizers, modern irrigation, the whole shebang. And it worked. It dramatically multiplied output. In fact, between 1960 and 2018, the yield per acre of wheat multiplied by 3.8 times. It made India completely self-sufficient in food grains. It was absolutely an incredible achievement.
But, and this is the crucial point, while the Green Revolution undeniably saved lives and brought in those massive yields, it came with a really dark, long-term ecological cost. Our heavy reliance on harsh chemicals and pesticides, it has severely degraded the environment over time. We're talking decreasing land fertility, massive soil erosion, soil salinity, scary chemical contaminations, and even genetic erosion. Basically, our modern system of farming is slowly poisoning the well. We urgently need a new way of doing things.
Which brings us to Section 2. What is organic farming? So, if chemical-heavy farming is the problem, what's the alternative? Well, officially, organic farming is a cultivation method relying on crop rotation, green manure, compost, biological pest control, and organic wastes to sustainably maintain soil productivity. But in plain English, it's basically an eco-friendly, pollution-free system that completely ditches those harsh, synthetic chemicals in favor of natural processes.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how it works in practice. Instead of cooking up a chemical in a lab to force a plant to grow, this method actually uses nature to heal nature. It relies on core inputs like crop rotation, green manure, biological pest control, and animal manure. It's essentially a closed-loop system. The waste from one process becomes the absolute vital fuel for the next. It's brilliant.
All right, let's shift over to Section 3, India's urgent need.
So, why is making this pivot no longer just a nice idea, but a critical necessity for India? Well, it's a logical step-by-step necessity. Step 1, we have to halt and overcome conventional farming's ecological damage. We literally can't keep degrading the soil. Step 2, we actively conserve our natural resources. And only then do we hit Step 3, achieving sustainable agricultural development. Because let's face it, you just can't have long-term economic growth if the natural resources it relies on are completely wiped out.
But, this isn't just about big-picture macroeconomics. This connects directly to your own plate. Consumer welfare absolutely demands safety, quality, and hygiene in our food supply. Think about it. As a consumer, you want to know your food is safe. Organic farming ensures that the products reaching your kitchen meet those exact eco-friendly standards, totally free of any poisonous residues.
Which sets us up perfectly for Section 4, 5 major benefits. Let's systematically walk through them.
Benefit number 1, protection of the environment. Organic farming acts like a giant shield for our broader ecosystem.
Because it relies on all those natural inputs we talked about instead of synthetic chemicals, it actively reverses the damage from the Green Revolution. It leads to improved soil fertility naturally, much better water quality because, hey, no toxic runoff is polluting the local rivers, and it actually helps bind the soil to prevent erosion. It's a win for the whole ecosystem.
Benefit number 2 really raises the stakes because it directly impacts your own body. We're talking about healthy, nutritious, and hygienic food.
Look at the contrast here. With conventional farming, there's this lingering, kind of scary risk of poisonous chemical contamination in our food and fodder. Organic farming just entirely removes that risk. The food is safe, it's hygienic, and it actually has a really high nutritive value. It's just flat out a better, tastier product for us to consume.
Okay, moving on to benefit number 3. This one focuses literally on the ground we walk on, improvement in soil quality.
Let's see how this actually builds the long-term viability of a farm. While conventional farming sort of mines the soil, stripping its nutrients, organic farming does the exact opposite. It uses multi-cropping, crop rotation, organic manures, and biological pesticides. These techniques don't just maintain the soil, they actively improve its fertility over time. It's like an investment into the land that pays compounding returns year after year.
Benefit number 4 is actually a really surprising but incredibly vital economic advantage: increased employment opportunities. And this brilliantly illustrates the socioeconomic power of this shift. Conventional farming is super capital intensive. You spend a ton on machinery and chemicals, which actually leads to a lot of seasonal unemployment for laborers. Organic farming, on the other hand, is labor intensive. Thanks to crop diversification, meaning lots of different planting and harvesting schedules throughout the year, it creates consistent year-round work. It literally keeps rural communities working and thriving.
And finally, benefit number 5. This focuses on the massive financial relief this system gives to the farmers themselves: inexpensive inputs.
The financial difference here is just night and day. Modern farming locks farmers into buying highly costly, high-yielding seeds, expensive chemical fertilizers, and proprietary pesticides every single year. It can really trap them in debt. But organic farming, it uses cheap, locally produced organic inputs like compost and farm waste. Because it is so inexpensive to maintain, it really is the ideal, sustainable choice, especially for small and marginal farmers across India.
So that leaves us with this final thought to consider. The Green Revolution absolutely gave us the sheer volume of food we desperately needed at the time. But looking at the massive ecological toll and seeing the undeniable environmental, health, and economic benefits of natural cultivation, to secure the future of our food, our health, and our planet, must we return to the organic practices of the past? It's a huge question, and understanding the facts we covered today is the first step to answering it. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking those great questions, and I'll catch you next time.